Hey everyone, and welcome to my show. My name is Nick Elston. I'm a leading inspirational speaker, creator of unique mental health engagement strategies, a transformational speaking coach, and founder of Forging People, a community created to empower, inspire, and educate people who truly want to be heard in life and in business. On these shows, I bring you the storytellers, celebrities, speakers, influencers, entrepreneurs, those who have gone from adversity to excitement, who share their stories with vulnerability, transparency, inspiration, and most importantly, completely unfiltered. So without any further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy today's episode of The Nick Elston Show. Hey everyone, and a big welcome back to The Nick Elston Show, Season 3, Episode 6. And today we have another amazing guest to bring you, another person from the world of financial planning. However, he's much more than that. The wonderful Mr. Dan Graham. Big round of applause to Dan.
Hello, mate. That's the first time I've ever given myself a round of applause, and I feel absolutely terrible for doing so.
So we're both football fans. I love the clapping yourself. So you're a Carlisle United fan, Bristol Rovers fan, hence the grey in our beards, that kind of stuff. Insert your joke of choice here. We had a player called Stuart Sinclair play for us a couple of years ago. Looked like a Viking, but he never thought he was going to make it pro as a footballer. And he was so happy every time he got on the pitch. He got a man of the match and would applaud himself running around as he got man of the match. I love that. Clapping yourself is massively underrated, mate. So you do it. You absolutely do it.
Yeah, it's like utter belief in yourself, isn't it? That you're not going to be crap. So that's all it is. Really.
It's the equivalent of wearing orange neon football boots. You've either got to be really good or got the confidence to carry it off.
Yeah, like when defenders wear anything but black boots, I'm a bit like, they're probably not up to scratch, are they? No offense to any footballers who wear orange boots, by the way.
Yeah, we've just gone full into a chat. We've just been recording now, which is kind of the plan anyway. Anyway, we better kind of have some form of structure to this. So our paths crossed through my work in the financial planning community, namely through NextGen Planners. So that kind of, I was talking about this with Steve Nelson last week, that I would say a good 90% of the people from your world that have been on the show have used the words fallen into financial planning, like I did. And I guess maybe that's exactly kind of your kind of stance, that NextGen Planners, your role there is very much around marketing, community and stuff. You tell us all about it. I don't want to undersell you. I don't want to oversell you, really. So you take it from here.
You definitely oversell me. So I would love to come up with something different other than fell into it, but I did. I don't think, I think I always say that our desire at NextGen is to have financial planning as something that people don't fall into, that they want to do from the very beginning. But I mean, taken from experience, I did just fall into it. So, went to university and everything in Newcastle, left not really knowing what to do. I had a mate who's got a brother who's a financial planner. Everyone knows Rohan. He knew Rohan. He set us up for a coffee and then, joined financial planning. Did it for about, how long was it? So I passed in July 2018, like as a qualified financial planner. And then October 2019 is the time when I usually talk about. That's because when I had a complete, I don't want to say, I'm not saying it's a breakdown, but in terms of it's almost like an epiphany. And I was waking up every morning with what I call morning dread. I don't know if anyone else calls it that, but anxiety is so much worse for me on a morning than it is on a nighttime or any throughout the day, because I'm scared of what the day is going to have. And the reason that I was having morning dread and the reason that I was anxious is because I wasn't enjoying what I was doing at work. And how many people don't enjoy what they do at work? It's a ridiculous figure. I think I quoted something at the conference, and it's a massive percentage of people don't feel engaged at work. And for some people, they can deal with that, but I couldn't deal with that. So the change came in October 2019. When I just couldn't take it any longer. Being a financial planner was just not right for me just yet. I much enjoyed the marketing, communications, kind of event running side of what we were doing. And it just so happens that NextGen was at the perfect level of growth to be able to accommodate someone like me with my skills as well. So, I mean, I'm not a big believer in destiny or anything like that, but it was just fantastic timing that NextGen was at the right level of growth when I was pretty much entering it, that it just made perfect sense for me to join NextGen as well. And then since then, yeah, we've done global conferences. We've met up with you. I would never have had these conversations if I didn't make that change back in October 2019. So I'm a huge advocate now for just, if you feel like something isn't right for you, don't accept misery not even in exchange for a good salary. It's not worth it. You can't put a price on your happiness. People say that all the time, don't they? It's certainly not a good salary will pay for sadness anyways. So
absolutely.
Yeah, sorry, we went quite deep there, didn't we? But that's kind of, that's how I got to where I am today anyways.
It's really, thank you so much for sharing that. I think what really stood out was when I first started delivering. So I kind of met the guys, Rohan and Adam and yourself, through my work with Chris Budd initially. It's also been on the show. So the Initiative for Financial Wellbeing. And that connection was really powerful. But I always remember the first time I kind of spoke and did an event for you, that actually it was our connection that stood out the most, because you really resonated with what I was saying. And I now understand why.
Did you?
And especially that bit around that anxiety kind of came from regret from the past or fear of the future. Mm-hmm. But actually, when we start to try and keep it in the day, we feel a lot more kind of in control. We can manage things a lot better.
Yeah, I think
it kind of resonated, I guess, didn't it? That message, because you lived that too.
Yeah, I think I was misdiagnosing myself, because you obviously talk a lot about GAD and generalized anxiety disorder and things, and I was misdiagnosing myself with that, when in reality I think I'm just a bit of a worrier in general anyways. But I think it was situational anxiety, that I was doing something that I didn't feel that I was making a difference to the world. I didn't feel like I was fulfilling my job. I didn't feel like I was using my skills to the right level and things like that. And that was kind of giving me situational anxiety. But what you were saying was exactly what I was going through. It was like, the symptoms of situational anxiety versus GAD are exactly the same. Morning dread was one of those symptoms, and you were talking about it all the time, and it was just like so resonating with me that I was just like, I can't not chat with this guy more. And then you invited me in your speaking academy.
Yes.
And that was, again, I'm assuming that you were going to talk about this at some point, but just surrounded by people who are feeling exactly the same way at some point in their lives, if not now. And then by the end of those speaking academies, they're completely different people, and so was I as well. So it was a no-brainer, really.
Thank you, and you're quite right, and you see that kind of transformation, and it just goes to show that we all have all the answers we'll ever need. We just need to start asking ourselves the right questions. Absolutely, reach out for help when we need it the most, but most of the time we can start to really have those kind of conversations, ask ourselves those questions. And I think storytelling is the perfect vehicle for that, because as you so ably and brilliantly did on the day, the stories you were sharing, you can tell you were kind of thinking it through as you were delivering it to a live audience.
Yeah.
And that's huge, isn't it?
Yeah, it's I mean, it is the ultimate example of pushing yourself out of the comfort zone, because you never feel like that when you just go about normal conversations in daily life. But then when you're surrounded by a room full of strangers, I don't know, I think I found it easier, because I wasn't so scared of because you always say, don't you, that people aren't scared of public speaking, they're scared of being ridiculed.
Exactly.
But when it's a room full of strangers, I mean, I do care what other people think about me, but I didn't have any baggage with those guys. I was just willing to just completely just let the barriers down and just, let it out. And everyone else was as well. I think you're very lucky in terms of the people that actually come on those speaking academies, is that they understand the way it's going to go straight away. They understand what's going to be in it for them. And then it just makes it, the barriers are just so low when you come in, because you can just, there's no pretense and there's no judgment or prejudice or anything like that. I mean,
no, exactly.
I love them. I think they're fantastic.
Thank you. And it is an eclectic mix of people you get there. Very rarely have somebody come along, and I've had it a couple of times, but thinking it was just a traditional form of public speaking coaching, like a Toastmasters, that kind of stuff. And all of that certainly has its place. And I think you could tell that in the NextGen community. I mean, I'm only one of 5, 6 speaking coaches, and that's besides the coaches within the community who do speak as well. But the reason why there's so much variation and diversity amongst us is because we all bring something different to a table. And I was talking around this with Steve as well on the last week's show, where this concept of emotional storytelling, traditionally in the financial business industry, actually emotion has been one of the things that's been hardest to convey because of that kind of traditional business kind of mentality, I guess. It is one of the last bastions still of traditional business and all the things that come with that gender imbalance and having to wear a suit and tie and lots of different things. And I think certainly what you're doing, and actually you're a pivotal cog in that, by being the glue that binds all of this together, you're changing a whole culture within an industry, which is huge.
I think you're so right there in what you're saying. It's like the last thing that we to change, that kind of pressure element. I think me and you spoke about this on the podcast that we actually did for the NextGen Planners podcast, is the fact that, like, you know, financial planners are responsible. It's almost like doctor level responsibility of like being in charge of someone's complete financial future. And whatever decision you make for that person, you always know that it could end up being the wrong decision. And that is a huge amount of responsibility to put on one person, or even 2 or 3 people if you've got a team, to put on their shoulders. You know, I think we need to actually pat ourselves on the back a lot more for the kind of pressure and responsibility that financial planners actually go through. And also, I think there definitely needs to be more help from probably our community. We can absolutely do this, is to help people deal with that pressure and deal with that responsibility. Because when you can take the financial planning exams when you're 16 years old. I mean, the level 3 ones, you can't take the level 4 ones until you're like 18 and stuff like that. But that's, you know, for a 19-year-old or 20-year-old to be put out there and have all this pressure and responsibility on them. I mean, the frontal lobe isn't even developed yet, and we're asking them to look after, you know, potentially millions and millions of pounds of someone's money. There needs to be more coaching and kind of support with that area as well. And if no one else is going to do it, we will. It just, you know, that's it's got to happen, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And because they do have the trust and rapport with their clients, that actually you will have a depth of conversation you wouldn't have with anybody else, that they may open up to you about mental illness, mental health, even sexuality, gender, race. It could be anything that's considered sensitive or taboo. Where do you as a planner then go with that? So there's multi-layers of pressure, isn't there?
Yeah. Listening is important in any kind of profession or industry out there, but I think in financial planning it's huge. There's often a kind of thing about the most important skill a financial planner has is silence, an ability to not butt in when someone's talking, because the longer you leave it, the more the client will be thinking about how they can fill that space, and then they might bring up something that could take the conversation down a complete other avenue, and that could be the most important thing that you talk about with them, but you didn't let them talk about that because you didn't leave it quiet enough. So it's a great skill that financial planners have, is just to shut up and listen, basically. Which is weird.
I think very openly, and thank you, you shared kind of your experiences of kind of mental health challenges. Is that something that was kind of later on in terms of within your adult life, or was that always something that's been part of your kind of makeup, would you say?
No, for majority, I think I was one of those people, really, and I'm ashamed to say this, is that I didn't really understand it because I'd never been through it. And I think, you know, you can give yourself a lot of kind of slack for that, because it's much harder to understand something when you haven't personally been through it yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't really understand it. I didn't really see how it could take over someone's life the way it does.
Yeah.
Until I went through university with all the stress and pressure of exams, and, you know, losing people in my life, and, you know, dealing with mental illness in other parts of my family and things like that. And it just so happens that it was this one thing, you know, not being in the job that I like, put too much pressure on yourself, you know, start to have all those horrible thoughts in your head about, okay, well, if I don't do this now, when am I ever going to do it? And stuff like that. And it really didn't matter that I hadn't been through it the whole of my life. It just really took a hold when I was in that rut back in whenever it was, you know, 2019, and back then.
Yeah. So your career shifted more towards the marketing side of things, and if I may say so, you're bloody good at it, genuinely. And I was saying this to Adam Owen, who's also been on the show recently, that I think you're amazing at what you do. And I think also people don't see the work and the connection that goes on to managing and kind of supporting a community, especially a community of, was it 500 odd people, correct?
Yeah, just over 500 people now. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's to be honest, it's what I found, like, actually what I really want to do, which is kind of I mentioned this in the conference talk back in June. You know, if I didn't make that decision back in October 19, if I wasn't feeling all those horrible things, if I wasn't pushed to make that change, I never would have. Well, I probably would have eventually, but it would have taken me a lot longer to find what I actually really do want to do. Absolutely. And sometimes, you know, it's an ultimate silver lining. It's the ultimate blessing in disguise is to go through feelings like that, because then when you come out the other end, you've found exactly what you're looking for. And it's yeah. I always, you know, say that it's I hate using quotes, and I especially hate using one from this man. But Winston Churchill said, didn't he? He said, you know, if you're going through hell, keep going. And that is, it actually really does work. It does.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess what I want to talk about is I'm in the process of building a community, which is around the kind of the speaking, coaching kind of element, I guess. And it's a headache. I'm not a details guy. I haven't got any people in it yet. And I'm getting kind of quite overwhelmed by all the things that you have to do. And luckily Adam is kind of holding my hand through this and putting that together, helping me with that. But it's such I guess what I'm trying to say is that same with social media and things like anxiety, they can go really hand in hand as a kind of a trigger kind of thing. So increased overwhelm equals disconnection or increased anxiety. I'm sure, without naming any names, you're going to have the occasions of people that are offensive or abrupt or kind of trolling behavior kind of sometimes. How do you manage that as somebody who is increasingly self-aware around your mental health as well?
So I don't think this is the answer that you're quite looking for, Nick, because we've actually been very, very lucky in that we've never, ever, and I'm this isn't just I'm not just making this up. We've never had anyone who's came in and who has not understood the kind of the ethics in our community. We've managed to keep away from people who are joining and being selfish or nasty or trolling behavior, like you said there. Yeah. We've just been very, very lucky that everyone who has joined our community so far, and I mean everyone, even if they've left afterwards, they've not been disrespectful, they've not been offensive, they've not been hurtful or anything like that. And I honestly, you know, the way we would deal with it in that instance, I would imagine, is it's almost just to kind of remind them of our ethics and make them feel bad about doing what they're doing, and just say, you know, come on, we're trying to make a difference to the world here. We're trying to impact positive change. And when someone comes in and does that kind of stuff, it's not helpful for anyone. So yeah, I mean, we've just been really lucky, to be honest, with the people in our community. I mean, the good thing is that we've got the no moan zone. And that means that, you know, that before you join, you literally have to understand that this is not social media. This is not, you know, a big Facebook or a big LinkedIn or anything like that. This is a community. And if you want to do well in the community, you've got to do well for others in the community as well. And I think everyone who's joined so far has understood that. So it actually comes down to effective screening, I guess. The platform that you use actually allows you to do that, doesn't it? It's the same that I'm building mine on Mighty Networks, that it does allow you to have that kind of check-in before they actually are allowed in, isn't it? Really helpful. Yeah, so you can go to like massive extremes with the screen, and, you know, you can ask people loads of questions and stuff before they join as well. But I mean, what what is it? It's proactive versus reactive, you know, being proactive, saying these are the rules, and if you don't follow them, you're gone. That's just the way it is, because our community is not somewhere where you can spread negativity. I mean, we've just put out on social media today that our members have sent, I think it's 30, I'll get the exact, I think it was 30,750 direct messages between each other in the past 12 months alone. Wow. And, you know, when you get figures like that, that just tells you that it's quite a healthy community of good people who are doing good things. It's just about being proactive and telling them the rules right from the very beginning, rather than reacting to them when they go wrong. And in terms of social media,
personally as well as professionally, of course. Do you have kind of things to protect your mental health, or to keep your self-care in a good place, and how to switch off, how to disconnect, that kind of thing? If you're constantly available and online and helping people and being the person, like I said, that glue that's holding everyone together, how do you kind of enforce your downtime, I guess is what I'm saying?
So actually, this is an area that I'm still not there yet. So obviously, when you're growing a small business, I think everyone's got to be on the same page of, you're not going to be able to have as much downtime as you want. If you're truly passionate about something, sometimes you do need to make, I'm not saying that you need to make massive sacrifices all the time, because that's just going to lead to burnout, isn't it? That's everyone knows that. But you do have to make sacrifices if you're going to want to grow your small business and you're passionate about it. So I'm still not there yet. Something that I've found, it's weird, but something that I've found for self-care is projecting care onto others. It's a bit like when you give to charity, you get that kind of selfish, good feeling inside you because you've made a difference to the world. What I've started doing recently is just engaging with people's content. You can tell, you can see how hard people are trying on LinkedIn and stuff like that. And sometimes the best gift you can give them, and the best gift you can give yourself, is to just engage with it. Even just like it, comment on it, saying this was really, really good, sharing it, because that's what we're all striving for. We're all trying so hard to get our content online to be engaging and for people to engage with it. And so what I do is simply just have a task in my diary every day, and it's just to go through and like stuff and comment on stuff on other people's LinkedIn posts.
Nice.
Because it's just like karma as well. Like if you do that for other people, they will do it for you. And if you're active on LinkedIn, social media with them, they're going to be the same back to you as well. So in effect, really, it's a bit of a selfish thing, because you know that you're going to get it back at some point in the future, but it makes you feel good as well. So that's kind of how I protect myself online.
Yeah. Are you truly being heard in life, in education, in business? Your ability to deliver any message with clarity, power, and emotion will have an ultimately defining impact on your success, personally and professionally. Forging People, founded by Nick Elston, is an online community developed to empower, inspire, engage, and educate you to truly step up. Complete with online courses, early access to in-person coaching and events, free resources, and a community of like-minded people, Forging People will help you manage anxiety, boost confidence, and give you the tools to speak to any audience, whether it's one person or 1 million people. Speaking is more than just standing on stage. Speaking is business. Speaking is leadership. Speaking is influencing. Speaking is life. Contact Nick's team today on pa@nickelston.com or visit nickelston.com today to register your interest. This is the sign you've been looking for. Yeah, I love that. Thank you. We've spoken about the challenges. On the flip side, what have been your biggest successes? What have you enjoyed the most from the community so far?
So the conference this year was absolutely amazing. To have 100 speakers from I think we actually had like 6 or 7 different there's only 7 continents on the world, and one of them is uninhabitable. So all habitable continents on the world, we had someone speaking from there. And the best part for me was that I was in the green room, I was in the studio producing all this kind of stuff for the majority of the time. So I got to chat to and welcome in 100 people from all around the world who were about to do something that they'd never done in their lives. And people dealt with it in such different ways. Like some people were like, really bouncing and stuff like that. And then some people, you could tell that they were just really reserved and nervous. So our job at different times was to like either pull them out of that nervousness or like calm them down when they were getting a bit too excited and things like that. But like, honestly, that was the best 3 days that I've had for years. Probably ever, to be honest, because not only did we get to watch everyone, but we also got to support them and actually get and see the work that you did, with them all in terms of emotional storytelling and stuff like that. It was definitely the highlight. Absolutely. No question.
And you meet so many people, don't you? So you meet so many new friends potentially, but new faces. And I think one of the silver linings of the past 18 months has certainly been the extended reach of people of business,
Yeah.
doing more work globally. Have you had to tie all of that together with time zones and events, and what kind of, I said also, what cultural differences have you noticed within the industry or within people too?
Yeah, cultural differences one is an interesting one. I might have to think about that one whilst I'm just going through this other one. Time zones isn't as much of a problem for myself because I don't speak to as many people as Adam Owen does, for instance. But to be fair, as long as you're chatting to an accommodating, nice person, they don't mind when you're free or anything like that. They'll just be willing to give you their time if you're looking to help them. They'll give you their time. So time zones hasn't been too much of a difference. Obviously, again, you have to make sacrifices. Like if I want to have a conversation with someone in America who's on the west coast of America, that means that it has to eat into my downtime on a nighttime. But the good thing is that talking to them is almost like downtime, because like you're just talking to cool people who are doing cool things, and they're really lovely, and they're just willing to do anything for you. So it's not a chore by any means. Cultural differences, I haven't really noticed that many between the UK and the US, because we've got pretty similar culture, apart from the fact that they don't use 24-hour clocks, which blows my mind. So like if you say something to them like, oh yeah, it's at 1800, they'll be like, what the hell's that? Like they don't understand that it's like 6 o'clock at night. So you either have to say 6 a.m. or 6 p.m.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, other than that, not really. South African.
As you said that, I'm gonna have to change my marketing.
I tell you, isn't it? Yeah. There's obviously like humor differences as well, like things that we find funny, Americans perhaps don't find funny, and certainly people from South Africa, they have a definite different sense of humor to us as well.
Yeah.
And in terms of like messaging and stuff as well, they're actually a lot more open, I've found, to, I don't know how to say this, but I think, well, let's phrase it a different way. In the UK, we're very, very kind of protective of who markets to us and who sells to us. And that's because we've been burned before by salesmen and stuff like that, isn't it? Whereas in the other countries, it hasn't quite reached them just yet. They're still quite open to being sold to or to being marketed to, certainly more than the people in the UK are. I mean, the thing that always reminds me of the UK is them signs in people's windows which says, if you've got junk, don't come here, or something like, you know what I mean, like the junk mail thing. Whereas that just doesn't really happen in any of the other countries. So not massively cultural differences, that prevent us from working together anyways.
That's cool. So away from work, away from professional life, who is Dan Graham? Apart from a Carlisle United fan, when did your love affair with Carlisle United start?
2004, I think it was. So I hated football until I was then. I think I was like, 10 or 11 then. And they used to do a community thing where they used to invite all the local schools to come for free. We went to see Carlisle versus Barnet. And at that time, Carlisle were in the conference and they were just about to come back into League Two. So they were amazing. Like they had such good players and everything. And I think it was pure luck that I just got involved with them that year because I've seen what good things can happen. And then since then, it's just been a downturn, really. So, I mean, it was my dad. I wasn't going to be able to support anyone else other than Carlisle United, to be honest, because my dad forced me to. So, I mean, he supported Spurs as well, which is a really weird thing for someone from Carlisle to support. But you can't choose who you love, can you?
This is true. But you're quite right. It's like well, I think for me, it's like a family curse, really. Why couldn't my great granddad would have supported anyone decent? So I'm like fourth generation in now, and I think we've seen very little success between the four generations, to be fair. But
my great grandma was from Amsterdam, so I could have been an Ajax supporter if she didn't move across here. So thanks, Omar. I really appreciate that. Cheers for moving across here and moving to Carlisle of all places as well. But other than that, I've recently got into jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
Say I've got into it. I went for 3 sessions and then got cracked ribs. So I've been out of it for 3 weeks now. So I'm getting back into that this week. So that should be good. That is huge for mental health because there's no egos with Brazilian jiu-jitsu. You could be the biggest man in the world and someone could take you down easily with a move. And I think that's why it's so successful, is because it's great self-defense, but it's also you leave your ego at the door and realize that you're not indestructible and anyone can beat you. That's the way it is. So yeah, that's fun.
Wow.
Yeah, we've recently just bought this house as well, and recently just got a puppy. So when you said downtime, I literally
Have none.
have none. I mean, I watch Vigil on a Sunday night at 9 p.m. and for an hour, and I think that's my downtime done. So I think it's quite a good thing because, and gaming, I'm massively into like, Call of Duty and things like that, because they're like quite, you literally can just forget about the world and you're in the zone for that, however long you're in that. So, but yeah, I mean, I think I'm quite a bit of I quite like doing stuff. So I can't really, downtime to me looks different to someone else anyways.
Yeah.
So I think everyone's downtime differs.
Tell us about the puppy.
Bit of huge shock to the system. When you're a 26-year-old and you've literally just been responsible and sometimes irresponsible with yourself for all that time. And then you get this, gorgeous little thing that demands your attention all the time and needs fed by you because no one else is going to do it, and needs to be let out every 2 hours and needs to be taken on walks and blah blah blah. I didn't expect it all. I've had dogs all my life, but I didn't expect the huge responsibility that comes with having a puppy. I mean, she's amazing, don't get me wrong. I would
What's her name?
It's like it's Muna. Yeah, it's an unusual name. It's named after a band in the US. But yeah, I mean, like when people say when they have kids that you never love anything as much as your kids, like she's just a member of the family now. So I mean, without sounding wishy-washy, but she is. I mean,
what breed is she?
She's a Springer Spaniel, which means that she's extra energetic as well. So
really,
it's a good job. Yeah, it's a good job that we've still got our legs, because if we didn't, then she, we wouldn't be able to have her. But yeah, she's amazing. She's just sat there now watching me as well, which is good.
Oh, bless her. A friend of mine's got Springer Spaniels. They are very energetic dogs.
Yeah, she's. I mean, it's good because it's good because when you come in, you get the biggest welcome in the world. It's like you are the hero. When like you're a celebrity and it's like you're walking down the red carpet. Like this dog is just absolutely like she wheezes herself every time she sees us because she's that excited to see us. You don't get that reaction from anyone else, do you? So
I might get a little bit when we actually finally meet in person. I might just wait a little bit. You just never know, do you? Don't know where it's going to go. But you're quite right. Dogs. I'm always going to say that dogs kind of massive on unconditional love, unlike humans. And like you said, you can take the rubbish out 20 seconds later, come back, and it's you're amazing. I haven't seen you in 20 seconds.
Yeah.
You need that in your life, don't you?
Really, like it's good for your ego in a way, because you're the hero. You know that you're the hero, no matter what you do to a dog. And not that anyone I know does anything nasty to a dog, but even if you are horrible to dogs, they still love you more than anything in the whole world. And that unconditional love is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And yeah, you don't get that with anything else. So yeah, very, very rewarding, but very, very shocking as well at the same time.
And I've just connected the dots. You two do a weekly update show, don't you?
Yeah, so we used to do a video update until I realized that was quite a lot of work. So now we do we just do an article every Friday in the community, and we just share what's going on, and also just share pictures of Muna, because everyone likes to see a dog, don't they? So she's our mascot. Yeah.
I'm just going to say it as it is. I see this kind of like weekly updates on the network. I get like a weekly update as opposed to a daily stuff. So I get a weekly update just for me to have a skim through. I see Dan and Muna's update. I thought Muna was an IFA. I didn't know she was a dog, to be fair.
Yeah, I should probably call her Muna the dog, shouldn't I? That would make more sense. But yeah. And if anyone wants to get those, by the way, you can just drop me a message and I'll just send them to you as well if you want any week. You don't have to be in the community to get those. Yeah, she's
as much as I love financial planners, I'd much rather tune into a dog with you, a show with you and a dog. With you. Just saying, that's all.
I mean, it is literally is very, very true when they say don't work with children or animals, because she doesn't care that you're trying to record a video. She'll still wee on you or bark or jump around or something. So it is so true when they say don't work with animals. But yeah, she's good.
I love that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So, okay, time's flown.
Yeah, bloody hell.
I am now the MC of the O2 Arena in London. 20,000 people have paid their hard-earned money to come and hear you do your thing. You're in the green room and you hear your walk-on music kick in. That song that motivates you, that lifts you, that gets you at peak state, gets your energy up so that you can go on and deliver at peak performance. What would that track be?
So this is the weirdest one you've probably ever had. And I mentioned it a few times, and every time I mention it, it gets weirder and weirder. But it's Gwen Stefani, Hollaback Girl. I and it's simply because it's got nothing to do with me at all. I went to see a band in 2017 called Sundara Karma. I think they might be they're from Reading. And every time they come on I don't know if every time, but the time they came on that stage, they played Hollaback Girl beforehand, and they had big bouncy balls, and they put them all into the crowd. And honestly, I've never seen people go crazy for a song and for some bouncy balls in my life. Like, it was just absolute. And I think, if I think back to that moment, walking onto that song would be so weird, but it would be so cool as well. Like, just to make people laugh, make people feel a bit happy and things like that. So
we have to make this happen.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Don't get me wrong. I haven't been able to do it in the past 18 months because I've been in this room all the time. But hopefully at one point I will have the walk-on music of Gwen Stefani, Hollaback Girl.
You will, whether it's my event or your event, or we'll make sure that happens.
That'll be good. Yeah. Oh my God.
It's not the weirdest suggestion. It's surprising, but I think the weirdest one was Baby Shark. Somebody wanted Baby Shark. So. Which is you have to walk really fast, or the Benny Hill theme tune, which is way before your time, but you have to run onto that one. It's anyway,
the Baby Shark one will be so annoying, though. No offense to whoever chose it, but the people in the audience would be singing that song all day, and I sometimes want to literally just fall asleep, so I don't have to keep on humming Baby Shark in my head because it is just ridiculous. So yeah, no offense to the person who chose that.
Yeah, and we're not gonna hum it or sing it now because it would just cause havoc.
It would trigger me. Yeah, it would
so we're not going to do that at all.
No.
I'm so tempted to do it, but we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. So Dan's amazing choice, amazing. Hollaback Girl will be on the playlist for season 3 at the end of the season. So stay tuned for that one. For now, Dan Graham, big round of applause. Brilliant to have you on the show. Thank you so much for giving up your time to be with us, away from running your busy community and all the other things you're involved with. And I would love to get you back on a future season if you would be so kind.
Of course, yeah. No, I might be grey by then, but yeah, no worries. That'll be absolutely fine.
Well, if Bristol Rovers form carries on this, so will I. So we'll be in good company. So that's Dan Graham. That's the end of today's show. Thank you so much. And for everybody else, please stay tuned for the next episode. We have another amazing guest coming your way next Friday. But in the meantime, be well, take care, and be happy. I will see you soon. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye. Bye. And that's a wrap. A big thank you for tuning into today's episode. Please do leave us a like and hit subscribe for the fantastic upcoming episodes that I will be bringing to you, featuring more amazing guests. But for now, be well, be happy, be safe, and remember, as I always say, it's what you do next that counts. Until next time on the Nick Elston Show, take care. I'll see you soon. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.